What would you do if you were caught in a trap, surrounded by danger, and had no one to help you? Would you lose hope, or would you use your mind to find a way out? This is the story of Farah, a fox who wasn't the biggest or the strongest in the forest, but she was the smartest, and in a life or death moment, it was her clever thinking that saved her life. Once upon a time, in a vast, lush forest filled with towering trees, chirping birds, and flowing streams, lived a fox named Farah. She had fiery red fur, sharp eyes, and a calm, graceful way of moving. Farah was well known throughout the forest not because she could fight like the tiger or run like the deer, but because of her intelligence and wisdom. Whenever any animal faced a problem, they would come to Farah for advice. She always found a solution, no matter how tricky the situation was. But even the wisest can face danger. One fine morning, Farah woke up early and set out in search of food. The forest was quiet, the sun was rising, and the air smelled fresh. As she walked through the deeper parts of the jungle, she didn't realize she had entered the hunting ground of some dangerous men, 3 cruel hunters who had been laying traps across the forest to catch wild animals. They didn't care which animal fell into the trap, they were only interested in catching something to sell. Farah was walking near a bush when suddenly snap! A loud, sharp sound echoed through the trees. She cried out in pain. One of her legs was caught in a metal trap, its sharp teeth digging into her skin. She pulled, twisted, and tried everything she could to escape, but the trap wouldn't open. It was heavy and tight, and with every move, the pain grew worse. For the first time in her life, Farah felt fear creeping into her heart. She tried to calm herself, but then she heard something worse, the sound of footsteps, voices, laughter. The hunters were nearby and heading in her direction. She was wounded, trapped, and alone. It seemed like the end, but Farah wasn't an ordinary animal. She took a deep breath and told herself, if I panic now, it's over. I have to think like a fox. Her sharp eyes quickly scanned the forest floor. She saw mud, leaves, and dust. An idea began to form in her mind, a risky idea, but it was the only chance she had. She lay down on the ground and pretended to be dead. She slowed her breathing, rolled her eyes back slightly, and let her tongue hang from her mouth. She covered parts of her body in mud and let her limbs go limp. To anyone who looked, she would appear lifeless. Within minutes, the hunters arrived. One of them noticed her immediately. Look here, we've caught a fox, said one with a wicked grin. Another leaned in closer. Is it dead? She must have died from the shock or the pain, the third one said. No use dragging her in the trap like this. Let's open it and carry her back. The hunters, convinced that Farah was already dead, bent down and unlocked the trap. The metal clicked open. They were about to pick her up when in the blink of an eye Farah leapt to her feet and dashed into the forest. The hunters gasped. One of them tried to chase her, but she was too fast. Even with her injured leg, Farah ran with all the strength she had left. She darted through bushes, leaped over fallen trees, and didn't look back until she reached a hidden part of the forest where she knew she would be safe. She collapsed under a tree, breathing heavily but alive. Her leg was bleeding, but she would heal. More importantly, she had escaped not by fighting, not by begging, but by using her mind. News of Farah's escape spread quickly. The birds sang about it, the rabbits whispered it in their burrows, and even the proud deer bowed their heads in respect when they saw her. Farah had become a legend, a symbol of how wit and wisdom can save you, even in the darkest of times. So what can we learn from Farah's story? Sometimes, life puts us in situations where there seems to be no way out. Fear surrounds us, and giving up feels like the only option. But if we stay calm, trust our minds, and use everything around us wisely just like Farah did, we might find a clever way to escape the trap. Courage doesn't always mean fighting with strength. Sometimes, true courage is staying still, thinking smart, and waiting for the right moment to act. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories every week. What would you have done if you were in Farah's place? Let us know in the comments below, and remember, always think like a fox.